I sold my family's farm in rural Georgia to pay for my daughter's dream wedding in Savannah. Her thank you was to hide me in the basement storage room because she was ashamed of her country mother. She thought I was an embarrassment, but she forgot one very important thing about the woman she just tried to erase. I was about to remind her exactly what kind of woman raises ungrateful children and what happens when that woman decides she's had enough. The Foundation of Love. My name is Elena Rodriguez. At 68, my life was a quiet symphony of contentment, rooted deep in the red clay of rural Valdosta, Georgia. My farmhouse, painted the color of fresh cream with green shutters, sat on 40 acres of pecan groves that had been in my family for 4 generations. This was my heritage, measured not in square footage, but in the scent of magnolia blossoms, the taste of peaches I picked from trees my grandfather planted, and the profound peace that settled over the fields at sunset. My days followed the ancient rhythm of farming life. I tended my vegetable garden, canned preserves that won ribbons at the county fair, and maintained the small farm stand where neighbors bought my tomatoes and sweet corn. It was honest work, simple work, work that connected me to the land and to generations of Rodriguez women who'd walked this same earth. But my heart lived in Charleston, where my daughter, Sophia, had built her new life after graduating from the College of Charleston with a business degree. She was my brilliant star, destined for bigger things than our small farming community could offer. When Sophia announced her engagement to Marcus Wellington, a man whose family belonged to Charleston's oldest social circles, I knew this wedding would be her chance to fully join the world she'd chosen. The world that required her to leave her country roots behind. The venue she selected was the historic Magnolia Plantation, with its grand antebellum mansion and manicured gardens overlooking the Ashley River. The rental fee alone was more than I made from the farm in 2 years. "Mama," Sophia said during our phone call, her voice mixing daughterly affection with determined ambition. "Marcus's parents are handling the catering and flowers, but the venue, we just can't manage it ourselves. This is the place that will show everyone we belong in Charleston society." Voice becoming resolved. So I did what mothers do. I called the agricultural agent who'd been courting our land for years, representing developers who wanted to turn pecan groves into suburban subdivisions. The money would secure Sophia's perfect day and her place in Charleston high society. I signed the papers on a Thursday morning, standing in the lawyer's office as generations of family history transferred to strangers. That afternoon, I wired every penny to an account in Charleston, watching my inheritance become my daughter's. Wedding gift. The cruel revelation. The phone call came a week before the wedding, while I was packing my one good dress, a lovely lavender suit I'd worn to church for 5 years. "About your outfit, Mama," Sophia said, her voice tight with something I couldn't identify. "The dress code is very specific, sophisticated pastels only, and we've arranged for someone to do your hair and makeup when you arrive. Professional styling." Professional styling? Darling, I know how to present myself properly. It's just, Marcus's family moves in very particular circles. First impressions matter enormously. You understand why every detail has to be perfect. I understood the unspoken message. I needed to be transformed into someone worthy of her new world. The morning of the wedding, I flew from Atlanta to Charleston, my heart full of nervous excitement. Sophia met me at a downtown salon where a team of stylists worked to remake me into their vision of an acceptable mother of the bride. Voice becoming hollow, they straightened my naturally curly hair, painted my face with makeup so heavy I felt like I was wearing a mask, and dressed me in a beige dress they'd selected, expensive but utterly colorless. Looking in the mirror, I saw a stranger, a woman drained of all personality, all connection to the vibrant life she'd lived. Perfect, Sophia said, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. You look very appropriate. The ultimate humiliation. The historic Magnolia Plantation was breathtaking. White columns soared against azure sky. Gardens bloomed in choreographed perfection. And guests in designer clothes moved across manicured lawns like figures in a painting. I arrived with Sophia's wedding planner, a sharp-eyed woman named Catherine, who guided me not toward the main house, but around to a side entrance. I think there's been a mistake, I said as we descended a narrow staircase. Surely the ceremony is in the garden. No mistake, Catherine replied crisply. The bride was very specific about your seating arrangement. Something about acoustics and sightlines. The basement storage room was furnished with a single folding chair facing a small television screen. Boxes of wedding supplies were stacked around the walls. The air smelled of dust and cleaning supplies. You'll be able to watch the entire ceremony via live feed, Catherine explained, adjusting the screen. The bride thought you'd be more comfortable here, away from the crowds. I stood in that basement, my expensive beige dress suddenly feeling like a costume, and understood with crystalline clarity what had happened. I hadn't been invited to my daughter's wedding. I'd been hidden from it. Sophia appeared in the doorway, radiant in her designer gown, but with eyes like winter. Mama, thank you for understanding. Marcus's business associates are very traditional. Having family who represent the Old South, it's Sen. Are you lost? When I explained I was the mother of the bride, watching from the basement, her face went through shock, disbelief, and finally, righteous anger. This is wrong, she said fiercely. This is not right. You should be at the head table. Her simple human decency, her recognition of the injustice, sparked something in me that had been dormant too long. Voice becoming determined. I asked Maria if she could take photos, just a few, with the camera on my phone. Me in my expensive beige dress, sitting alone in the basement while my daughter's wedding happened overhead. The contrast between the elaborate celebration above and my isolation below. For my records, I told her, so I remember this day clearly. The perfect response. I returned to Valdosta that night, but not to grieve. I had work to do. Monday morning, I visited my lawyer, the same man who'd handled the farm sale. I showed him my phone photos and explained the situation. Elena, he said quietly, this ... unconscionable. What do you want to do? I want to send my daughter an invoice. The venue rental was a gift, contingent on my being treated as an honored guest and mother of the bride. Since I was treated as an embarrassment to be hidden, the gift is rescinded. Consider it a debt. The invoice was legally binding. The farm sale had been structured as a gift specifically for wedding expenses, but gifts can be revoked when conditions aren't met. Voice becoming satisfied. I also did something else. I created a simple website, The Truth About Charleston Weddings. It featured my photos from the basement, alongside the story of how I sold my family's century-old farm to pay for a daughter who was too ashamed to let Charleston society know her mother existed. The website went viral in Charleston's social media circles within days. Sophia had wanted to control the narrative of her perfect wedding. Instead, she became garden party and charity luncheon. The aftermath, Sophia called, screaming and crying, begging me to take down the website and forgive the debt. "You've ruined everything," she sobbed. Marcus's family is mortified. His business partners are asking questions. People are calling me hopeless. I didn't ruin anything, Mija. I simply told the truth. You wanted to erase your heritage, your family, the woman who sacrificed everything for your success. I just made sure the erasure was mutual. The debt remains unpaid. The website stays up. Sophia and Marcus's marriage crumbled under the weight of public shame and financial pressure. Voice becoming peaceful. As for me, I used the settlement money from the lawsuit to buy a small house near the coast, where I tend a garden and volunteer at a community center, helping other elderly Latinas navigate family difficulties. I learned that dignity isn't something others can give you or take away. It's something you claim. Self, and sometimes the claiming, requires showing the world exactly what kind of people would hide their mother in a basement. My name is Elena Rodriguez. I raised a daughter who was ashamed of me, so I taught her what real shame looks like. Some lessons are expensive, some are priceless. ...